There are mornings when getting up from a chair feels less like a movement and more like a quiet negotiation with the body. A small pause, a breath, a reminder that time has passed and that the legs, once so quick and effortless, now carry the stories of many decades. If you have ever felt that subtle hesitation before standing, or that moment of doubt at the first step of a staircase, know that this experience is more common and more meaningful than most people dare to admit. It isn't weakness, it isn't failure. It is simply the body asking for attention, perhaps for the first time in years. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, one of Japan's most respected physicians and a man who cared for patients well past his 100th birthday, used to say that the legs are the pillars of the aging body. He often compared them to the great beams of a traditional Japanese house, the wooden supports that quietly hold everything in place. When the pillars weaken, he explained, the house doesn't crumble all at once. It leans, it becomes fragile, and little by little, life inside becomes harder. Our bodies follow the same law. Aging does not begin in the wrinkles or the hair. Aging often begins in the legs, in the muscles that lift us, carry us, and connect us to the world around us. And after 60, these muscles carry far more than body weight. They carry balance, the subtle adjustments that keep us steady when we turn or reach for something. They carry blood flow, helping the heart circulate warmth and nourishment to every corner of the body. They carry joint stability, protecting the knees and hips that have served us for so many seasons. Most of all, they carry independence, that precious ability to move through life without relying on others. When the legs stay strong, daily tasks that seemed heavy begin to feel lighter again. When they weaken, even simple moments can feel like climbing a hill with a bag of stones. Modern longevity experts have reached a similar truth. Peter Attia, a physician who studies the science of living longer with strength and clarity, often points out that lower body strength is one of the most reliable indicators of how long a person can maintain autonomy. Not lifespan, but health span, the years lived with freedom, mobility, and sharpness. In fact, leg strength can be a more powerful sign of future independence than weight, blood tests, or many of the usual medical numbers. Strong legs protect us in ways we rarely think about. They help with glucose control, keeping the body's energy stable throughout the day. They support the mitochondria, the tiny engines inside our cells that give us the vitality to move and stay alert. They influence the balance of hormones that regulate mood, appetite, and even sleep. Legs are not just for walking, they are metabolic engines quietly working beneath us, asking only for movement and attention. But there is something deeper, something that goes beyond biology. After 60, caring for the legs becomes a form of caring for dignity, for the simple pleasure of standing without fear, for the comfort of walking across the room without holding onto furniture, for the freedom of stepping outside and feeling the ground beneath the feet, knowing that the body can still carry us toward the people and places we love. Strong legs give us more than stability. They give us presence. They connect us to life. And that is why this conversation matters so deeply, because protecting leg strength is not about vanity or athleticism. It is about guarding the doors of independence. It is about preventing the quiet isolation that begins when mobility slips away. It is about keeping the body awake, the mind active, and the heart engaged with the world. When we nurture our legs, we nurture the possibility of living the years ahead with confidence. Not rushing, not forcing, but honoring what supports us from the ground up. If you have felt your steps becoming smaller or your legs growing tired sooner than they used to, take this as an invitation, not a warning. There is still time. It's possible to rebuild. It's possible to regain steadiness, one gentle movement at a time. In the next chapters, we will walk slowly through the reasons why weak legs accelerate aging, how they protect the brain and heart, and what simple habits can keep them strong even in later life. For now, simply know this: your legs are still listening, and they still want to carry you forward. There is a quiet shift that happens in many homes after the age of 60. A chair becomes more than a place to rest, it becomes a place to depend on. The handrail that was once touched only on rainy afternoons becomes an everyday companion. The cart at the grocery store becomes not just a basket on wheels, but a silent support for balance and confidence. None of this happens suddenly. It happens slowly, almost invisibly, as the body begins to search for small anchors in the environment. And with each tiny dependence, the legs receive one less invitation to participate, One less moment of engagement, one less reminder of their purpose. What seems like a harmless habit is, in truth, a gradual dimming of the body's natural stabilizers. Over time, this reduced activation begins to reshape the inner landscape of the muscles. The thighs, hips, and calves are home to a vast number of mitochondria, those small engines that fuel every movement and every spark of energy. When leg muscles are used less, these engines shrink in number and power. What follows is something many people describe but rarely understand: the sudden heaviness in the legs during a walk, the way fatigue appears earlier in the day, the feeling that energy has become harder to find even after a full night's sleep. Researchers from Harvard and the Mayo Clinic have been observing this pattern for years, and the conclusion is clear. When the legs weaken, mitochondria decline, and the entire body begins to lose its natural rhythm of vitality. This decline is not dramatic, but it is deeply felt, often in quiet moments, like halfway up a staircase or when rising from a low seat. What makes this even more striking is that in places where people live long, steady lives, this pattern does not appear in the same way. In mountain villages, coastal towns, and traditional communities, where elders remain active into their 80s and 90s, the environment naturally keeps the legs awake. The paths are uneven, the homes are built on slopes, and the streets require small climbs and descents throughout the day. This constant, gentle challenge to the legs is not seen as exercise. It is simply part of life. A person may walk to a neighbor's home, fetch water, tend a small garden, or move between rooms built on different levels. These actions are woven into the day without thought, and the result is surprising strength that lasts much longer than in cities built for convenience and minimal exertion. Even so, strength can be reawakened at any age, and often this begins with the simplest of movements, the act of rising from a chair. This movement, done slowly and with awareness, becomes a conversation between the thighs, hips, and core, reminding each part of its role in supporting the body. A slow rise, followed by a quiet descent back into the seat, creates a moment of engagement that the legs remember. For someone living alone, this small ritual can become a gentle companion. For someone experiencing stiffness, it becomes a safe and familiar challenge that can be adjusted day by day. There is no race, no pressure, only a return to a movement that the body once performed effortlessly. And perhaps the most powerful way to understand the importance of leg strength is through a simple image. Imagine your body as a home lit from within. Every room represents a part of your life: memory, balance, mood, appetite, mobility, and independence. The legs are the power stations feeding electricity to all these rooms. When they stay bright, the whole house feels warmer, clearer, and more alive. But when the power stations dim, it is not just the legs that grow weaker, it is the entire house that begins to darken, one room at a time, often without anyone noticing until the change is too deep to ignore. Strengthening the legs is not about chasing youth, it is about protecting the light inside the house. It is about keeping the door open to movement, connection, and independence. And in the next chapter, we will explore how these same legs influence the brain, the heart, and the delicate systems that keep us steady in a world that never stops moving. There is a particular moment many people experience, but rarely speak about. A small sway when turning to reach a cupboard, a brief uncertainty when stepping sideways to avoid an object on the floor, a hesitation so subtle that it can be dismissed as nothing more than distraction or tiredness. Yet for many older adults, this gentle wobble is one of the earliest signs that the stabilizers of the ankles and hips are no longer responding with the same precision they once had. It is not dramatic, but it is significant. The body is whispering, not shouting, and these whispers, if heard, can reveal how deeply connected the legs are to the brain's ability to keep us upright in a moving world. What happens inside the body during these moments is more complex than it seems. Every movement of the legs sends signals upward through the nervous system, stimulating regions of the brain that govern memory, orientation, and balance. Among these regions, the hippocampus plays a central role. It is the place where memories are sorted, where a sense of direction is formed, and where the brain decides how to respond to changes around us. When the legs move with strength and coordination, they send steady waves of blood and oxygen to this area, almost like a rhythm that keeps the mind awake. When the legs weaken, that rhythm becomes quieter. Many people notice this not as forgetfulness, but as a loss of confidence in movement, a sense that reactions are slower, or that they need more time to feel ready before taking a step. In the hills of Sardinia, where some of the world's longest living elders spend their days, this connection between movement and cognition is almost poetic. The roads of the villages rise and fall, curving around stone walls and narrow passages. The elders who walk these paths each morning do not think of it as exercise. They simply go to visit a neighbor, collect bread, or watch the sunrise from a familiar overlook. Yet each step challenges the hips, ankles, and thighs. Each ascent awakens the nervous system. Each descent teaches the body to stabilize and adjust. Over decades, these daily climbs and descents nourish the brain's executive functions, decision-making, reaction time, emotional steadiness. It is no coincidence that many Sardinians maintain mental clarity long after their hair has turned silver. This relationship between leg strength and brain vitality becomes even clearer when considering balance. Sideways movement, often overlooked, is one of the most important aspects of stability as we age. Strengthening the muscles that guide these motions can refresh the body's ability to respond quickly to unexpected shifts. A simple 2-minute moment, spent stepping gently to one side and then back again, while standing near a stable surface for reassurance, can restore coordination between the hips and ankles. For someone experiencing stiffness, this is less about training and more about reintroducing a forgotten rhythm, the rhythm the body once used when dancing, gardening, or moving naturally through life without fear of falling. When seen from this perspective, the legs become more than tools for walking. They become the grounding cables that keep every part of the body in connection with the world. Strong legs support the heart by promoting steady blood flow. They support the lungs by encouraging deeper breathing during movement. They support the brain by sending signals of life, motion, and engagement. Each step becomes a reminder that the body is still capable of responding, adapting, and staying connected to its surroundings. And when these grounding cables remain strong, life feels steadier, the mind feels clearer, the heart feels more at ease. There is a quiet confidence in knowing that the body can still navigate uneven ground, unexpected turns, and the simple joys of movement. In the next chapter, we will explore how rebuilding leg strength after 60 does not depend on heavy routines, but on small, frequent actions that fit naturally into daily life, even for those who live alone or move with caution. Many people in their 60s or 70s begin to believe that real strength can only be built in a gym, with weights and routines that feel far removed from their current reality. This belief often creates a quiet distance between desire and action. Yet the body, even an aging one, responds not to intensity, but to consistency. It listens to the small things done throughout the day, not the rare efforts that demand more than it can comfortably give. Inside the muscles, what truly matters is the gentle tension that appears in brief, regular moments. A slow rise onto the toes while waiting for a kettle to heat. A careful step onto a slightly higher surface while moving through the house. A shift of weight from one hip to the other after sitting for a while. These movements may seem insignificant, but they awaken fibers that would otherwise stay quiet. They signal to the legs that they still have work to do, still have a place in daily life. This kind of natural strengthening exists in many traditional communities. In rural Japan, for example, older adults maintain surprising leg strength without structured exercise. They bend to tend gardens, stand from low cushions, move through homes built with small changes in height. Their bodies stay engaged because the movements of the day require it, not because they planned a workout. The same idea can be folded gently into any home. A few slow heel lifts in the morning warm the ankles. A handful of step-ups in the afternoon offer a moment of activation to the hips and thighs. Before sleep, a soft shift of the pelvis brings back fluidity after long hours of stillness. None of these actions require equipment or long sessions. They simply ask for presence. Muscles grow through repetition in the same way plants grow through light, a little at a time but reliably. With small, steady reminders, the legs begin to respond again, rebuilding the strength needed for confidence and ease in everyday movement. There is a pattern many older adults begin to notice without ever naming it. Walking still happens, yet something subtle feels off. The steps rely more on the knees than on the hips. The glutes, once powerful without effort, grow quieter. The body leans forward a little more than before, as if trying to help the legs do their work. This shift is not dramatic, but it changes the way the joints carry weight. Over time, it leads to tired knees, stiff hips, and a sense that walking requires more concentration than it once did. The truth is that three muscle groups quietly determine how freely we move as we age: the quadriceps at the front of the thighs, the glutes that support the pelvis, and the hamstrings that stabilize the back of the legs. Together, they influence some of the most essential movements in later life: climbing stairs without hesitation, rising from a soft chair, lowering oneself gently to the floor, and recovering balance after a small stumble. When these muscles remain active, everyday life feels more spacious. When they weaken, the world feels smaller, even inside one's own home. In Okinawa, longevity is often attributed to habits woven into daily life. One such habit is the posture used when picking shikuwasa fruit or tending small gardens. It is a relaxed, natural semi-squat that awakens the glutes and thighs without strain. This posture, repeated throughout years of simple living, keeps the lower body responsive well into old age. It is not a technique but a way of moving that honors the body's natural design. To sense how these muscles are functioning, many people pay attention to a quiet moment, lifting one foot lightly from the ground while maintaining balance. If the body trembles or the foot drops quickly, it may signal that the stabilizers of the hips and ankles need a bit more presence. This awareness is not meant to judge the body, but to understand it with tenderness. It is a reminder that strength is not only measured by force, but by steadiness. These muscles can be imagined as the suspension system of the body. When they are strong, every step feels smoother, safer, more connected to the earth. When they soften, the road feels uneven, even on flat ground. Caring for them is a way of caring for mobility itself and for the confidence that movement can still feel natural and free. Strong legs safeguard balance, circulation, and independence. Long-living communities show that simple, frequent movement keeps these pillars alive. Protecting them protects freedom. Which gentle movement has been giving your body a little more ease lately?